Good afternoon, welcome back. It is Monday, June 26, 2023. We have a slew of birthdays to rip through today, plus a few events. So we're going to start off way back in 1988. There was only a handful of events that really stuck out, so we're going to go with those. Try to at least have one or two each day, even if they're pretty minor. We try to pick the biggest events from each day. But in 1988 on this day, Rusty Wallace won at Michigan International Speedway. Of course, this is the race immediately following Bobby Allison's career-ending crash at Pocono. There was, the Hurry Back Bobby stickers on everybody's shirts and cars and pit boards and everything. A lot of fans in the stands wearing Bobby gear. A lot of crewmen. Michael Waltrip's car on the rear deck lid said "Hurry Back Bobby." So there was a lot of support for Bobby during this time. On this day in 1993, Bill Elliott wins the Busch race at Watkins Glen for his first and only career Busch Series win. Strangely enough, his first Cup and his first Busch, now Xfinity, Series wins came on road courses. And in 2016, speaking of road courses, for a final career win, Tony Stewart wins at Sonoma with a last lap pass of Denny Hamlin. Actually, a couple last corners. I don't remember if Stewart led the white flag lap, but I know him and Hamlin had been trading the lead a couple times, so even though there may not have been an official lead change on the last lap, he did pass him with a couple corners to go. So let's get to some birthdays today. A couple that I don't have cards of this guy, and I didn't even get a chance to look up a date, but Mr. Lauren Rainier. And if you don't know who Lauren is, Scene Vault Podcast has an episode, or I believe they have a three-part episode with him, a three-part interview with him from a couple years ago that really deep dives into his career. And he is the son of former car owner Harry Rainier, who had a long-standing history in NASCAR, owning the 28 car with drivers like Buddy Baker, Cale Yarborough, Benny Parsons, and later Davey Allison. Lauren works with developing drivers, through the ARCA and Truck and Xfinity series. He's worked with Chip Ganassi and some other teams, and he's very active on social media, so throw him a follow if you want to kind of post updates and stuff like that, so you can kind of get a peek into the door of what might be the NASCAR Cup Series future with some of the drivers that he's working with. Born on this day, 1943. I couldn't find a card of him because he wasn't in the stack that I thought he was going to be in. The original Skull Bandit, Mr. Stan Barrett. And yes, I say that because when Burt Reynolds and Hal Needham started their Mach 1 racing in 1981, Stan Barrett actually piloted a number 22 Skull Bandit Pontiac before Harry drove the 33 Skull Bandit. So Stan is a Hollywood stuntman, of course, friends at the time with Burt and Hal in this team, but Stan was busy with all his Hollywood projects. They tabbed Harry to drive the car, and the rest is history. That there was a couple times that there was a 22 and a 33 Skull Bandit Pontiac on track at the same time. I believe Stan did have a top 10 finish at Daytona in 81 in the debut for this team. But it's pretty interesting. Most people think of, when they think of the Skull Bandit, they think of Gant. Nope, Stan Barrett is the original Skull Bandit driver. And then now we're going to get into some birthdays that we have cards of. I only have one of this guy. I probably have a couple more tucked away somewhere. Born on this date in 2002, current Xfinity Series driver Chandler Smith, who's been having a really stellar rookie season. He's already won a race. I believe he has a pole. Been very strong. Doing good things for Colleague. My personal opinion of Chandler, he needs to stay in Xfinity, develop a couple more years. I don't think he's Cup level yet. Give him a couple more years, get him some wins, maybe a title, get some seasoning down there at Colleague, then move him on up the food chain. Next on our list, born on this day in 1996, he was a competitor in the Xfinity and the Cup Series, now is a part owner in the Cup Series, Mr. Matt Tifft. Of course, Matt drove for Gibbs in the Xfinity Series briefly. Then he went over to, I believe it was Childress. Because the two. So he drove with Childress for a brief time. And if we can get these apart, there's another look at the kind of during that time, the Tax Slayer and all that. Then he moved up to Cup with Front Row for a season. Didn't have much success. There's the car that he drove. And health reasons has sidelined him a couple times in his career, and I kind of think maybe that's why he's taken a step back from driving. as he had some bad issues. It's no secret that he had some brain surgery, he's had seizures. That's been very, very well documented, and I think it's a wise decision for him to step out of the car and get more on the management side. I never had a problem with him as a driver. He never seemed to get any ruffle any feathers. He was very smooth, didn't tear up a lot of equipment. I just don't think he didn't have that it that the drivers need to really, he didn't seem hungry enough. I know that that's maybe rough to say. I don't know. I'm not sitting in the wheel. I'm not driving the car. I'm not on the team. But just from a fan's viewpoint, from what I see on the TV screen, you see drivers today like a Ross Chastain, like a Ricky Stenhouse, like other drivers that are aggressive and they want it and they're going to work for it. I didn't see that with Matt. I just kind of seen him, he just kind of did his thing, and if he had a 12th place car, he was going to finish 12th, maybe 11th, maybe 15th. You didn't know. But I like him. Don't have nothing against the guy. Wish him well in his managerial role, and hope everything is successful there at Live Fast Racing. Just didn't see the drive there. So next on our list, born on this date in 2003, current Xfinity Series driver, Mr. Sam Mayer. Of course, Sam was plucked from the Wisconsin short tracks, had a stint in ARCA with GMS Racing, moved up to Junior Motorsports a couple years ago when he was age eligible mid-season. He's had some strong runs, still knocking on the door for that first win. I think he's got the tools to do it. There's a good look at the ARCA car that he drove for GMS. Nice looking car. I think Sam does have the tools. I think he's a little bit more aggressive than our previous birthday boy, Matt Tiff. But I think Sam, again, still pretty young. Maybe just needs a little bit more seasoning. Maybe JRM isn't the fit for him. We'll just have to wait and see. Look at Logano. Logano was at Gibbs. Didn't fit for him. He moves over to Penske. Now he's a two-time Cup champ, closing in on 40 wins. So a lot of times it's just your environment, your surroundings, and etc. So maybe if Sam down the road, maybe Colleague's a good place. Maybe Trackhouse. Maybe Roush. Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. But I think he really, if he really wants to keep moving forward, he needs a win this season. Moving on down our list, born on this date in 1962, former Cup, Truck, and Xfinity Series driver, 2 wins in the Xfinity Series for this driver, Mr. Kevin LePage. Started in he was a Busch North driver for many years, moved south in the early 90s. Started his Busch Series career here. He's pictured driving for Ridley Motorsports, the 88 car, before it became a junior number. This was during the 98 Daytona 500 pre-race. All the drivers got a commemorative ticket that you can see there with their starting spot. Now, I like this one because we always talk about driver cameos or photo bombs. So behind Kevin LePage, you have Bill Elliott, Andy Hillenberg, and Johnny Andretti. Yeah, because it's the STP car. So you got 3 pretty good names there. Former Cup champ, former ARCA champ, and a former Indy 500 starter, former Indy race winner at Australia. So he did move over to Roush. He started in 98 with Little Joe's Racing. Joe Falk moved over to Roush late in the season, replacing Ted Musgrave. Of course, it was the Prime Star. It was the Family Channel car. Switched to Prime Star sponsorship. They went from blue and yellow to yellow and red. Then they had some other sponsorships, like I don't know who's on this one. Looks like Family Click with a different logo. There they are with another different logo. And I don't have the TV Guide one on here, but he did have TV Guide as well. Did have a short stint at Morgan McClure. Morgan McClure did maintain the little bit of Kodak funding, not very much. Then he drove a Car 37. The owner's name is escaping me. This is one of those ones where probably not going to... R&J Racing, okay. I think it was kind of like a precursor to a Front Row. It was one of those teams that got swallowed by another team. We mentioned David Ridley Motorsports. He took over this car late in the season. I believe it was 95 or 96 when he took this team over, took over driving. Kevin Schwantz, former motorcycle champion, was racing this car. Was just riddled with bad luck. They put Kevin LePage in. He won the season finale at Homestead. Then they got sponsorship from Hype Energy Drink, and for some reason the team just fell flat that season. But he did move up to the Cup ranks, like we said, in 98 with LJ Racing, Little Joe's Auto, Joe Falk. Ran most of the year unsponsored. Picked, of course, they had First Union on the car here because the 46 car failed to qualify. There's that blue and yellow Prime Star car we talked about. There's the TV Guide car. We mentioned it briefly. And we're going to end with a Prime Star car with Ward Burton peeking in there at the top. Kevin had a couple Xfinity Series wins we talked about, and he also had that incident where he pulled on track in front of the leaders at Talladega. If you listen to his interview on the Scene Vault podcast, everything he said makes sense. His wife was spotting for him that day. Why would she tell him to pull up in front of the pack of cars? He was doing what they were told to do in the driver's meeting. Put your left side wheels on the yellow line when you come out of the pits. Of course, the next day NASCAR told the teams, you keep the car completely under the yellow line until you get to the backstretch, which makes more sense than what he did. But nonetheless, it was one of those bad accidents. It created, like 18 cars where it was just a crazy crash. It's all over YouTube. And our final birthday today, born on this date, 1963. This is a long video. Sorry about that, guys. But there's a lot to cover today. Born on this date, 1963. He is a former Xfinity then Busch Series champion in 1993. We're talking about Mr. Steve Grissom. So here's 1991 Max with his 1990 car. He had Big Mama Meat Snacks on the car. Big Mama was purchased by Penrose and went over to Bobby Labonte's team. So the following year, he ended up getting mixed sponsorship from companies like Roddenberry's and later on Channel Lock, which is who he would win the Busch Series championship with, Channel Lock. This is a nice looking picture here with him with his Busch Series trophy. Moved up to Cup in 94 with Diamond Ridge Motorsports. Got a couple nice pictures there with the Diamond Ridge logo. I think I might have a third one. No, I don't. 95, they got sponsorship from Meineke. 96 was that wacky racing with Cartoon Network and all the Turner entities on the Cup car. Cartoon Network specific ones. He was released late, or midway through 96. So 97, he came back, and I've got these out of order, so I apologize. He had moved to Larry Hedrick's team in 97 with Kodiak sponsorship. He was released midway in 98. Then he drove a few races for Buzz McCall, the team that Jeff Green was driving for. Guess where Jeff Green went? He went to drive the David Green. He replaced David Green in the 96, and then David Green went to drive the 41. And then, of course, this was his Busch Series during this time frame in 96 when he got released. So then we got some car cards. We talked about the Roddenberry's car. There's a good look. Roddenberry's pickles and preserves, relishes, and so forth. Always picking up some unique ones. There's another Roddenberry's car and the original Channel Lock car. I always like pictures like this where, promo shoots and whatnot. There's a good look at the Channel Lock car with Mark Martin making a cameo. We talked about Diamond Ridge. Diamond Ridge was owned by Gary and Carolyn Bechtel, which we had their TTMs on about a month or so ago. Diamond Ridge, I'm not sure what exactly, if it was a mining concern or what it was, but it was a business the Bechtels owned. This was always a fun paint scheme, I thought. Just that teal and orange trim looked really nice. We talked about the Meineke car. There's a good look at it. Sharp looking ride. Then the Cartoon Network car, always a favorite for the kids. You see Fred Flintstone on the hood. I think we got another one there, 96 Flair. I'd like to find a couple boxes of Flair and open it up and make a set, because this is just a stunning set for the time. There's a good look at the Kodiak car. Thank you, Max, for not making this a blurred out image, as well as you, Upper Deck. Thank you, Upper Deck, for not blurring out the Kodiak. Talked about WCW. There is a good look at the car. And then our final card, wanted to show you this one. In 1996, the Daytona Goodies 300. Steve Grissom did win the race for the Busch Series. But look at these wrestlers on the card. You got Harlem Heat there. There's Booker T. You got Sting and Lex Luger over there. So if you're ever looking for a unique crossover card for a racer and some wrestlers to sign, here you go. This is it. I think this would be a cool one to get Sting, Luger, Booker T, and Grissom all on. So we talk about those cameos. It's probably one I need to start a stack of cameo cards, and then we can do a whole video on it someday. We're 15 minutes in. If you hung around, thank you very much. I don't like the videos to normally be this long, but we just had a lot to cover, and I'm almost out of breath. So thanks again for watching. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, and we will see you tomorrow.